after the committees of the legislature will also be established. Thanks.
Thank you. We will take up questions from members of the media. I would ask that you identify your name and your media house and ask your question. I've not conducted a press conference in a very long time. In fact, I've never conducted. I've always been. So I will start here with Linda, and then I'll go at the back, number 2, and then you are number 3, you are number 4, or you are number 5. So I'm giving you your numbers. You are number 5. Let's start, Linda.
Okay, Linda Missy from
You can use this. Linda, use this.
That's fine. Linda Missy from Newsroom Africa. This is obviously not the first postponement.
Yeah.
And I mean, residents of Gauteng are obviously worried about what is happening. Are you able to bring us into confidence about what exactly the issues are? What is the DA demanding that you as the ANC are not agreeing to? Thank you.
Number 2.
You were saying that you are going to announce, or the Premier will announce his legislature tomorrow or no later than tomorrow. Are you saying that irrespective of this deadlock with the Democratic Alliance, that the ANC will go through and ensure that they will announce?
Number 3.
Good afternoon, Alpha Ramushwana from Eyewitness News. If I heard correctly, Mr. Maile, you mentioned that the Premier was going to announce ANC only and was not going to announce DA. It seems to me the ANC is failing to come to peace with the fact that you got 30%. And you have to share the portfolios or the seats with the parties in the government of provincial unity. What exactly happened? What is it that the Democratic Alliance is saying they should be unaccepting? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Shannon Merrick from Kasi Broadcasting Africa. The DA has been a tough negotiator with the ANC National, and they got what they want. When we look at the list, what their demands was, they got 99% of what they want. So I don't think what they're doing in Gauteng is different. That's their tactics. So are you guaranteeing us tomorrow that Gauteng will announce and will not give in to DA's demands? And then the other thing with Gauteng residents, the HODs are here. The NASIS fund was supposed to end on the 31st. There's young people that's unemployed that are worried. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow and so on. What can you say to those young people that are very concerned to say if the government is not formed in Gauteng, they might be unemployed? Thank you.
Yeah, it's number.
Thank you very much, Nokana. How are you?
I'm very well.
Look, my name is Luna from the Men Guardian. Nopala, 2 things from you. You're one of the negotiators there. What exactly does the DA want? And does the negotiations nationally not fall into provincial as well? Because what I understand is that the negotiations nationally were the ones holding up this one provincially. And secondly, maybe I'll be mischievous again, but look, does this mean that the DA, maybe some of its demands, that it wants to govern some of the municipalities, and have you talked about maybe removing the EFF to work with the DA? Because it's kind of unclear what is it that they really want if the hold up as national. Thank you very much.
I think that's the last one. No, thank you very much. I want to start with this question that talks to the ANC not accepting that we didn't get 50+ percentage. unless you are not necessarily, or you are not following what we've been saying here, the concept of government of provincial unit is an ANC concept, because we recognize the fact that we did not win the elections. But the reality is that we are at least above all the other parties. So we're inviting everybody to come. And that's what we've been saying here. We've invited Democratic Alliance, we've invited PA, we've invited Action SA, we've invited Nkatha Freedom, we've invited everybody who's in the legislature, and we have spoken to them. So there's no ANC that can formulate government alone. Doesn't exist, at least not in the province. And we agree and we accept that. But what we don't accept is us having a concept of saying there's a coalition of ANC and DA in Gauteng. There's nothing like that. It's a coalition that is bringing everybody, rather. It's a government of provincial unit that must bring everybody. And that's where we are in this province. We're not going to negotiate in the media. We're not going to sit here and give details of negotiations. I know other parties attempted to do that from time to time. Had we concluded, if the leadership would have allowed us to do what we came here to do, or rather gave us a green light, and really not say, comrades, let's renegotiate and see if we can find each other with the Democratic Alliance, of course, from their request as well. We're going to announce cabinet with other political parties, including in the legislature. So we're very much clear in that. The ANC is very worried about a number of things, not only NASISPA. We have a very proactive premier who wants to go and deliver for the people, but he can't do it alone. He must do it with an executive that is willing to go to the people. From where we are, we believe that tomorrow we will be able to make that announcement. We got an assurance from our leadership that from tomorrow this really must proceed, because it is really delaying the people of Gauteng. It can't be fair, it's not right. The people of Gauteng have been waiting for their government. So as the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC, we really support our premier, but we also, from time to time, because we are a structure that is serving the NEC, and we must always listen to its guidance. So if there must be an engagement tomorrow, there will be an engagement. The reality is that, even if you go to other countries, coalitions are never easy. Unfortunately, this is the economic hub of this country. It will be contested. Parties will do their level best to be part of it, and so forth and so on. There will be a number of tricks that will come. So we expect that. Other countries, they took a year to formulate government and so forth. I mean, the president would have explained. Gauteng is like a country. That's why it's highly contested. From where we are, we believe that we are very fair. We are accepting what needs to happen, but we are not going to allow anybody to bully us, because the reality is that DA voted with EFF in Northern Cape in the middle of these GNU negotiations. It's a fact. When we have a view that is contrary to DA can act as if they are a victim. They act as if they are a victim, as if they are being left outside. When they are not in the Northern Cape, they are not there. But in Gauteng, they must act as if they are victims. When we say no, but let's bring other parties. Also, allow yourself. Let's move like this. Let's work together. If we don't agree, but we hope that there will be a solution tomorrow. We will be able to move forward. But from where we are, really, our premier is ready to announce, and the ANC, and these other parties who are ready to hit the ground running. I wonder if I've left.
No. please, what's Alpha. I did not say the Premier was going to announce the ANC only. Please don't say that, ne? Please. Please don't say it. Because
being creative.
I know you guys, you can say it. What I'm saying, the Premier was not going to announce the DA in his cabinet. The Premier was going to announce a provincial of government unity led by the ANC, constituted by the ANC and other parties represented in the legislature. Because the ANC in Gauteng has sealed and concluded a deal with other parties in the legislature. I think that should be clear. However, the DA decided through their provincial leader Msimang to go in public and make allegations that ANC is unreasonable and that they were not going to come, they were going to boycott. They were not boycotting anything, they were not invited. They were not going to be here anyway. So that's what we wanted to make clear, that in Gauteng, the ANC does not want a coalition with the DA. It will not have a coalition with the DA. But in Gauteng, the ANC will work with all the parties, including the DA. That should be made clear, because the DA is behaving as if we have a coalition. It's us and them. The ANC National Executive Committee adopted a framework. Yeah. We are guided by that framework, nothing else. So, and our position is clear, as the provincial secretary is saying, we are forming a provincial government of unity. As the ANC, we are forming the government, we are leading the government, we are inviting other parties. We've made this clear to the DA that we are inviting them. But they are behaving as if it's us and them. And then if we don't agree, then things fall apart. No, that's why the Premier, the list is got in his pocket now. It doesn't have the DA. It has other parties. Let's take others. We'll take the
municipalities, yeah.
And this, sorry, the issue of municipalities, I'm then confirming that your relationship with the EFF and I think MK also voted with you. Is that you are not going to be attracting from municipalities. I'm confirming that that list is the EFF there.
Okay, thanks. You can pass the mic there. Steve,
we have not spoken about municipalities here, so I don't know what you're talking about. Unplugging of this and that. We're not there.
Yeah.
We're not there.
Just take that question.
Tiny Jokas from NCA. What assurance can you give that tomorrow you'll be able to announce? This is the second time you cancelled your announcement. You keep speaking about the fact that this is not between the ANC and the DA. Does this mean that you, and I know TK is saying you don't want to negotiate in public, but the Premier did tell ENCA that a number of parties had formed part of this government of provincial unity. Does that mean that you are going to be working with the EFF and MK if you're planning to exclude the DA? Also, the DA has told ENCA that you only offered them 2 positions. Could you confirm if that's true? Thanks.
I think that yeah. Sure.
So I'm just wondering, I think the same questions that I've asked, that the list that is currently in the pocket of the Premier right now, does it include the EFF at this stage? And are we saying, or is the ANC saying that they've now created a government here in this province with the EFF and the MK?
Okay. First of all, when the ANC adopted its framework, it said go and engage all the parties. That's what it said. And parties pronounced themselves for or against the government of national unity. That's what would have happened. We have engaged everybody, but the economic freedom fighters and the MK were not going to be part of the executive. But we are engaging them because we are politicians. We understand this is a moving target. We've been involved in coalitions for the past, 10 years or so. So we understand what happens in coalitions. Every other party that we have engaged, they will be part of the government of provincial unity. So I think I would have covered both questions because you wanted to know EFF and so on. So we're not there, but we're engaging them because people say they agree with you and they change tomorrow. The issue of numbers, I will continue to say, anybody who negotiates in the media is negotiating in bad faith. And I don't do that. I don't believe in doing that.
But we want them more.
But the reality is that the first negotiations were way above, in fact, were above that. They turned around, they did all sorts of things. We just don't believe that we can be bullied by Democratic Alliance in Gauteng. And that's what brought us where we are. Because we would have closed this thing 2 weeks ago. But because they believe they negotiate, I don't believe at this point, including going into the media and talking about negotiations to that detail, is negotiating in good faith. So from where we are, we will not even venture into what would have Gauteng offered, or rather what would the ANC offered Democratic Alliance. But what we are saying is that if they are coming back, they must accept that other parties will be part. And they must accept that the ANC will lead this provincial government of unity.
No, in fact, it must not seem as if we are afraid to answer this question.
What question is it?
No, you negotiate in public. Because what the provincial secretary said, DA, one of the things they are trying to do, they firstly want to impose which political party you must work with. They want to negotiate for other political parties. They come with issues, proportional representation. We said we don't have a problem as a matter of principle, but it's proportional representation of what? So those are some of the things. Not like we're scared to deal with the details. And it's not true that we offer them to. It's not true. So please don't raise it again, because we don't want to enter into negotiations with the DA in public. But we are clear, and we said to them, let's frame this thing properly. This is not a coalition with the ANC. This is a provincial government of unity. We are inviting you. And hence, in the last meeting, they said, no, we are declining the invitation because we're not agreeing. We said, fine. But the DA did not believe that the announcement will go ahead today. Because for some reason, they believe they are in charge, they are responsible for us, and they are leading us in the legislature. We are not led by the DA. The only reason why we are here now explaining is because the national leadership of the ANC has asked that, no, maybe wait so that we intervene. ANC is a unitary structure. That's why I was saying the premier is ready, he was going to announce, but ANC is a unitary structure guided by principle of democratic centralism. When the leadership of the ANC says, wait, we can't say, no, we are proceeding because we are ready. We have concluded with other parties. In fact, maybe that's what we must say. We have concluded with other parties. It's only the DA that is behaving like a spoiled brat. And now we must be entertaining that. Let me take other questions. No, the last round. I'll take. I'll start with you, Muloko. 1, 2, 3. No. There. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, move it. 1, 2, 3. Because you are coming for the second time, I'll say 4. Then it will be number 5. Then we are done.
All right. Thank you so much, Muloko from ENCA. I think the GA has clarified that they are not saying they are boycotting this. They are saying that they are not going to attend it because they have not reached an agreement with you. But boycott not coming, it's neither here nor there.
Okay.
However, it's clear that you are pointing the finger of blame at the GA square. My question therefore is whether, since the beginning of these negotiations, at some point you have had to make concessions to say, we were here, we gave in to what they were demanding, and how far are you prepared to go in terms of perhaps giving in to their demands, but also seeing that what is happening here in Gauteng potentially could affect the government of national unity, in that if indeed this is the official position of the DA in general, not only in Gauteng but even in, at the national level, they may just say if they are not part of Gauteng, they pull out of the government of national unity. I'm not saying that's what they're saying, just trying to draw a scenario to say, does that not concern you as the leaders of the ANC in Gauteng, or you simply don't care?
Yeah. Okay, just wait, let the provincial secretary answer this one.
I think first of all, that's why you are here. It's because we care. If we didn't care, we would have announced and moved to pronounce the government of provincial unity. So we're here because we care and we listen to our leadership, but it can't be a scared tactic because the understanding was that provinces are negotiating on their own, and that's why many provinces would have immediately released their list or whatever they would have agreed on. Of course, Gauteng has been used in our own analysis by Democratic Alliance as a buffer for their own negotiations. You would know we're supposed to have announced. In terms of concessions, I think, like Comrade Lebza has said, and I don't want to repeat what would have said, we are bringing everyone. Concessions can't only about DA. It makes sense when we only give DA. But when we are saying, wait, let's give others, let's agree, we're coming together, it's not correct. We don't agree to that. We're saying, let's agree that we're bringing everyone, including these small parties that in your mind they are small parties. Because we have learned from municipalities that once you belong, you depend on one party, a lot of things can happen. So that's why we're going with the spirit of our leadership in bringing all the parties, including DA. So this thing of proportion that they are trying to raise as a principle, we don't agree with it. Because it means bigger parties must take everything and smaller parties must see to finish. That's where we disagree fundamentally with them. Or if they take, it must be about what they take from the ANC. So I just think we really disagree with them in that context. But outside of that, we are not an arrogant Gauteng ANC. And please, let's not portray it as such. We are very respectful. We don't speak to media unnecessarily. We don't insult anyone. We speak when we have to clarify issues that have to do with the people of Gauteng and the African National Congress. That's why we're here. We're speaking for the first time on the issue of coalition, ever since we started engaging on them, because we have never done that. But because we saw that there's a narrative, and people who are, leakists, people who leak letters, they leak engagements, you don't negotiate in good faith when you do that. Even tomorrow, we'll take our jackets, we'll follow leadership, and go and engage. But we have our principles that we believe are respected at all levels. And it follows the framework. They said the party, even the framework of the ANC, you would know it. It's very clear. So we're following that.
You.
College was news. The one I told you now, right? It's not true that we didn't DA 2 seats. Now I want you to set the record straight because this is a detailed answer. How many seats are you going to give it? Are you demanding? Thank you.
So not what we're giving to the DA, it's what we give to all the political parties. And that's why we were responding to a specific question that the DA is raising. And we are saying it's not true. And at the same time, we are saying this is not a coalition with the DA. That's why we must not reduce it to what the DA gets. But how are we accommodating all the parties? The ANC, in these negotiations, believe it or not, is the one that has been saying, let's bring everybody. In fact, even the smallest a party represented in the legislature. And DA does not care. Basically, DA's attitude is that, no, we are big parties. If we have a deal, we are sorted. We are saying, no, we don't want that. That's what DA wants from us.
In fact, it cares about the party that they want us to appoint.
Exactly.
So how do you work like that?
Exactly. So they want us to appoint a certain party and all. So we have been principled. And that's why we've not even come out in public and all that. Because we are saying, no, we want to work even with a one-seat person party. DA is saying, no, man, leave these people. They're big guys. So we are not going to do that. Sure. Number 2.
Good evening, breaking here from Deadlock, reality is you need to work with these parties, whether it be the DA, whether it be the EFF. As part of these negotiations, is there a working agreement to provide stability in government? Is there something like that you guys are working on as well? Thank you.
You can.
The agreement will be developed.
Yeah.
Because the agreement must deal with the principles, the values, it must deal with the minimum program, must deal with how are you going to resolve problems if you have and all that. So at this point, we're engaging with parties individually. In fact, what the DA is not telling you is that there was a draft agreement between us and them. And the reason it was not signed is because it was just the framing. They wanted us to sign an agreement with them on behalf of other parties. We said, no, we can have an agreement with you. They, in fact, went to the provincial secretary and said, sign, quick, at the day of the legislature. And they came to me and said, hey, the provincial secretary does not want to sign. I asked the provincial secretary. The provincial secretary said, no, I'm reading. These people are saying this is an agreement between the DA and other parties. And we had even agreed on the number of what the DA will get in the executive, what the DA will get, including the deputy speaker, in the legislature. Then we're supposed to go to other parties and say, what are you getting, party X, Z? Other parties have even said, no, we don't want to be part of the executive because we're having a holistic discussion. Other parties even said, we want to actually watch over you. There are parties that have said, but we can't divulge here. That said, we want to watch over you. We don't want to join you in the executive. So that's what transpired.
Okay,
last question.
You're saying that you were ready to, make the announcement today, but National Office asked you obviously not to. Do you feel that Luthuli House is imposing the DA on you as a provincial structure? Number 2, which parties is the DA pro and against? If you're able to give us that. And yeah, that's all.
I'm sure DA will answer for itself on which party they are pro or against. It's not really my place. I don't speak for them. However, answering your first question, what did you say?
It's Luthuli House.
No. In fact, we don't believe so. Remember, there's wisdom, but also there's leadership. They are there. They are negotiating at that level. They give us powers to do our work at the provincial level. We are reporting on a daily basis to them. This is where we are. This is what we are doing. In fact, I speak to the Secretary General of the ANC so that he gives us guidance on how we move. So we don't really believe they are imposing any party. We believe they are with us on this matter. We believe they are supporting us. We believe that, in fact, they are guiding us. They understand where we come from. That's why they would not even be tempted to take the negotiations over, but they will be with us in trying to, navigate and make sure that we are over this hurdle that we are faced with. But no, we really don't believe that the NEC or rather the National Executive officials are imposing DA on us. We believe they are with us.
So we'll take 2 last questions. I'll take and then Heidi will be the last.
No, but you didn't answer the question. I said, does the deal nationally not fall provincially? Are you negotiating your own thing alone in Gauteng, or the deal that was struck between all the parties in the GNU falls also to the national structures, or here you are negotiating yourselves?
The statement of intent does not speak about the province or any other province, as a matter of fact. In the middle of negotiations, and I raised this with you earlier on, DA voted with EFF in the Northern Cape. What were they thinking? Because they are outside, they will vote with the EFF, because wherever they go, they say, we don't want the EFF. We'll never be in a government with EFF. But they voted with the EFF against the African National Congress in Northern Cape. So there's not necessarily principle. These people who are looking for power. We understand we must share power. It's fine. So the reality is that we're not there. That's not our worry. Our leadership said we must go and negotiate our own provincial. Let's have our own provincial agreement and do something that will work for us and invite everybody, and that's what we have done. So whoever exclude themselves, whether it's the EFF or the DA, they are doing it on their own. We reached a deadlock with the DA. We're engaging, we're agreeing up until we wanted to change goalposts, and we reached a deadlock. That's what happened.
Heidi?
It's Heidi Jocks again from ENCA. I know you don't want to negotiate in the media, but I need to understand your proportionality of how you're going to split these positions, because is the ANC or the DA going to have to give up positions within the executive to compensate or to accommodate the other parties that have formed part of this government of provincial unity? And also, this last question. You reached a deadlock with the DA. Let's say the scenario is that you don't come to any agreement with the DA and then you can't work with the DA. Your only other option is MK or EFF. Are you willing to work with them?
Thank you.
No, just before, let's answer Heidi, and then, because she was the last, but I'll give you, let's answer, yeah. Nobody.
I think, let me just ask, because it adds with, it will help what everybody is asking. Yeah. You're not answering us, because what we know as media, we have read the DA love letter to National to say KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng is on condition that we agree National, we agree in Gauteng, and we agree in KZN. So that's why the question is, if Gauteng don't include the DA, does the deal fall off National? Because the DA love letter clearly states, I can give you the clause, what the paragraph. It says it's on condition, National, Gauteng, and KZN is one package. Thank you.
Yeah, so we are not the DA. The DA wrote a letter. Our leadership responded to their letter. Yeah. They responded to that letter. And you can check with them. But from where we are sitting, we want to work with everybody, because the National Executive Committee of the ANC has instructed us to do that. And we will do it within the confines of the principles as a framework of the ANC, because the ANC has a framework on that's what guides us. It's not any other thing. So we don't have a problem. Heidi, your question was?
Hi.
But you've been...
If you don't come to an agreement with the DA, you can't find each other.
Yeah, sure.
No, and the proportionality, taking seats away from DA, ANC.
First of all, I think we are very clear that not all... The ANC is not going to get 10 MECs. We are very clear, and we've been saying that. I don't know. It means we understand that we did not win majority votes in Gauteng. We must actually invite other people so that we form government. So we have agreed to that, including the DA understanding that this proportionally thing that they're talking about is not necessarily speaking about the 100% of representation of the parties inside the legislature. They are talking about us and them. So it can't be about us and them. It must be about the parties that are in the legislature. That is our point of contention. We don't agree there. And I can't negotiate again in the media like other parties. That's not how I was taught. I was taught discipline in the ANC. I was taught you must always rise above because you are a leader of society.
Yeah, no, that was, I think, the last. We want to thank the media. I hope it has clarified, you are clarified about the ANC position. The ANC is not arrogant. The ANC is prepared to work with everybody, and we will keep you posted. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah.